which neatly brings me on to my first news subject, which is...
Hold on. Before you get started, which one of these buttons do I press to...
microphone 1...
Is me?
Yeah, is you.
Okay.
And press the little mute button at the bottom.
What's the one next to it with the...
Listening, I have no idea. We'll find out one day, I guess.
All right. So your news story.
So there's a $4 billion in mining loans that are in distress, according to a JPMorgan Analyst, and says that the selling pressure stems from miner sales. See, I want to go straight into that story now, but I really need to introduce the podcast. So this is the CoinCosy Podcast, name subject to change. We are a podcast talking about cryptocurrency, news events within cryptocurrencies, the technology within cryptocurrencies, though I'm not that technical, but more about finding the nitty-gritty in these cryptocurrencies that everyone pumps up. So my name's Ben Osborne, and I invested in Bitcoin back in 2011, late 2011. Unfortunately, I wasn't made of money back then, and I only managed to buy a little bit, but I really saw what the potential was, and everyone around me got a message saying, you need to buy some Bitcoin. I was even saying just buy 2. I was too embarrassed to say, these could be worth tens of thousands of pounds or even hundreds of thousands of pounds each. So I'd say, I think they're going to be worth like 100, maybe even £1,000.
Including me.
Including you. And the reason why I saw something in Bitcoin is because I was interested in gold and silver. I'm very much interested in the economics, the central banks, the monetary system, and how that all works. So I used to listen to lots of podcasts, books, lectures about economics, and I loved it, and that's why I was very much into gold and silver. I am still into silver, and I'm going to be talking about that at a later date. There's a lot of people in Bitcoin, they like to say, sell your sofa, sell your grandma, like buy Bitcoin, remortgage your house, buy Bitcoin. I do not think that's the way, it's interesting because back when I first got into Bitcoin, I think everyone accepted that it was a very experimental technology, and so you should only put a bit of money into it, only what you can afford to lose, and that hasn't changed for me, which is interesting because I'm starting a crypto podcast, and I just like to be realistic, and that realistic is exactly what I want to bring to this podcast, because all you hear are the rah-rah bands talking up crypto and telling you how great it is and how you should buy it. And, even in any one single crypto that you're interested in, you try to do some research on it, and all you hear is the pros and pros until something goes badly wrong, like we've just seen with Lunar. And then you start to see the problems. That's another subject I want to talk about later, because personally, I think that Duquan should be in jail.
Who's that?
Duquan is the lead guy for Lunar, and he was actually known for several screwed up projects beforehand. But the thing that really surprised me is that the way that Lunar failed, it was pointed out to Duquan on Twitter, I think about a year ago. And so this guy literally said, so this is what you do. You get $1 billion and you buy this. I'm forgetting exactly how it works, but it's basically an incentive structure problem. And he outlined exactly how it was going to collapse, and it went that way. And Duquan replied to it, just basically flaming him, telling him he doesn't know what he's talking about, what a load of rubbish.
Bad sign number 1.
Big bad sign, because if he has any clue about cryptocurrency and he had read this, he would have been like, oh dear, this is a problem. And so he didn't. And then everyone saw later this
Surely he'd have already filled his coffers by that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has. He was on, I don't know what he was originally on, actually, but he was on TikTok saying, we've got a kill switch. So he said, when we feel like we're no longer serving the market, we can press a button and it sells all of our assets. And he's laughing about it. So why he's not under investigation? Like, what's going on? I just don't understand. He should be, and the thing is that even with all that, I do recognise that it could have been a simple mistake, but he should definitely be investigated. And I would err on the side of he's a dodgy geezer, and he's basically just ripped a load of people off.
What's his name?
Duquan. So it's DOKWON. Yeah, so basically, this cryptocurrency sounds like do one.
Yeah, I was thinking do one.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, his crypto basically hyperinflated recently. Do you even know about this?
No.
So after Bitcoin just started coming down recently, the stable coin on the Lunar Network, which was UST, I think.
USDT?
USDT, I can't remember. No, USDT is Tether.
USDC?
No, not USDC. USDC is a pretty good one.
Which is the one that collapsed?
That's what I'm...
It was Lunar that collapsed.
Lunar, and so there's a negative feedback loop where you could basically... I should probably have done some research on this. I'm already forgetting. But it's because that stable coin started to decouple from the dollar, or the dollar mark anyway, and created a negative feedback loop where basically you could sell, if it was above the dollar price and you sold it, it would create Lunar, something like that. And so they were intentionally, or if it goes below and you sell it, it would create Lunar. And so that they were pushing it down, and they were buying it and pushing it down and shorting it, and basically just dumped both of them.
It literally sounds like it was just sort of making it up as he went along.
Mm. Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. You can't do what he's done without being... You can't do what he's Duquan without being very, very clever. So...
reminds me of Jaquan.
Jaquan, yeah. Yeah. Can you remember any of those songs?
I do. It's like one of my favourites from that era. I can't even remember.
Everybody in the club drink Pepsi.
Something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, and this is one thing that I want to try and avoid, is like derailing the conversation, which I am known for, and Lawrence is known for. We are probably the worst two people to get together,
ADHD,
and talk about these subjects and try and stick to the straight and narrow. So yeah, that's my history. I actually used to sand floors, and I only quit that recently because I decided that I wanted to do this. And it was whilst I was sanding floors. This is probably why, in my opinion, if you don't have any skills, floor sanding is one of the best jobs you can get, because not only does it pay fairly well, you can spend like 8 hours a day listening to as much content as you want. You can learn any subject. Give it 3 months. And
you did.
As I did, yeah. And I've done it with many subjects. You can pretty much exhaust all available material in a given subject. Now, it doesn't mean I'm a genius in economics or anything, but I did do a lot of reading and a lot of listening. But usually I just take it. Oh, that reminds me, I've forgotten to bring. I was going to bring my Adam Smith bust.
You actually listened to The Wealth of Nations, didn't you?
Yeah, twice, the whole thing, yeah.
How long was that? Like 50 hours or 52 hours?
I don't know. It took a week. It took a week to get through it. But yeah, so I learned all of these things, and I learned about investing. And I know a lot of people are doing that these days. And I think that's who we're going to get on this podcast, is people that are starting to look at the price of fuel going up, everything going up, the price of food, and really wondering. And one thing I really want to try and help people understand is that it's not Russia that's causing this. It's not greedy businessmen. because greedy businessmen have always existed. So why is it that now all of these greedy businessmen have decided to raise their prices?
I don't really like saying greedy businessmen.
Oh, nor do I.
Everyone on planet Earth works in their own interest, like almost always. It just so happens that businessmen know how to do it efficiently. So yeah, it's like, and most of these companies are just trying to provide a good service, and they're competing with other companies anyway.
Yeah, and I'm. It's not devil's advocate, but I'm saying it the way that certain people purvey it. That's so it's not greedy businessmen. Greedy businessmen, their greed incentivizes them to provide the best service, and if they raise their prices above their competition, they're going to lose out to a degree. There's always some price movement, but in order to get lots of prices moving up in tandem, you need to increase the money supply, and it's the central banks. That's where the problem is. So that's who I am, and as I say, I invested in 2011, and I've learned so much since. You learn so much more once you actually buy it, mainly because you can't stop looking at charts. And I was pretty much a Bitcoin maximalist until 2017 with the block size wars. We won't get into that today. And it wasn't until I think early 2020 that I decided that I wanted to get into Ethereum and start to learn about other cryptos. And I was really disappointed with myself that I had closed myself off so much, because I've always been interested in the
I'm sure you got into Ethereum earlier than that.
No. I traded Bitcoin against Ethereum just for the gains.
Well, it was like straight after the 2017 high.
No, didn't touch it then. No.
So, what were you in between 2017 and
Bitcoin Cash?
Oh yeah.
So thanks for outing me as a former Bitcoin Cash cult member.
I was going to say cult member,
but the thing is it's not a cult.
It was sound.
Yes, they just, because they're so insulated in what they're doing, they don't realise that actually the technology is quite far behind what else is going on. So yeah, that's me. And so who are you?
I'm a crypto skeptic for the most part. That doesn't mean I don't have any. I do. I like to make money. I don't not believe in crypto as such. I don't believe the people with the power and the guns are ever going to let it, ever going to let it be a real mainstream thing. But I am in it to win it in the meantime. Otherwise, I own a small phone repair business. And I am also a gold and silver bug. And just general commodities as well. I'm quite interested in the energy sector. I think uranium's going to be a big thing. I think coal's going to make a massive comeback as well. I mean, I think it's actually Germany's recently decided to reopen a coal power plant because of the restrictions coming in from Russia. So yeah, I mean, the whole commodity sector is going to make a massive boom. I just think that gold and silver is going to do it the most, especially at the same time as India is on quite a meteoric rise at the moment, and they love gold. They love it. They love it for money. They love it for jewelry. They love it for everything.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's Russia and China together. They have I think 12,000 tons of gold. So yeah, let's talk about this JPMorgan story. So we've got 4 billion in Bitcoin mining loans that are in distress. And this analyst says that the downward pressure on the price of Bitcoin is coming from miner sales. And I hear this every single time we go into a bit of a bear market with Bitcoin, and it does make me wonder, because the people running these businesses are not stupid, and they have to make money. So I'm quite sure that they are selling enough to cover their costs as they're producing it, because they know that if they and other Bitcoin miners just start stacking Bitcoin sky high, that there's going to be a major problem later on. So to me, this is an excuse that is rolled out every time there's a bear market. And it's like there's always these stories, these recurring stories at different stages in the market. And talking about stages in the market, I mean, personally, I think that we are heading towards what I call despondency. I don't know if that's an actual market analytic term, a psychological term that they refer to the markets. But I remember. So I've been through three bull markets, and a little bull market that went up to 250, which is kind of now assumed to be in with the $1,200 bull market. And after the bull market, and it absolutely crashes down, it gets to this point where people just start talking about it. People stop looking at the charts. Like I forget about it, and no one's interested anymore. And that's when it just goes sideways. That's the accumulation phase. And I feel like the mood is definitely despondency right now. So I feel like we're in this despondency sort of area of the market. And, maybe it can go lower, but I think if you are interested in cryptocurrencies, I think that the prices where crypto is at the moment is definitely where you want to be buying, because it's always, and this is true of me as well, it's always very difficult to buy at the bottom of the market. And then when you get to the top of the market, it's very difficult to sell. And I've had some success with selling at the top of the market. I don't think I've ever had success at buying at the bottom of the market. But that's because I buy the dip, and then I buy the next dip, and then I run out of money, and then it dips and dips and dips again. So yeah. Is that our very hard segue into the next?
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen your newsreel, so I'm just as excited as the viewer to find out what's coming next.
Oh, they're riveted. They're absolutely riveted.
All 6 of them.
Yeah. Oh, crikey. If we get 6, I'll be chuffed.
Mummy and Daddy. And
yeah. So, I mean, we've already touched upon this, but Ruble hits the Russian ruble hits a 7-year high against the dollar.
When? Today?
Yes.
I was not aware. I haven't listened to anything today.
Yeah, for anyone that knows, it's because Russia or Putin actually tied the value of the ruble to gold. Kind of.
Soft peg.
Yeah. And as soon as that happened, after collapsing somewhat, the ruble then started to come right back down and is now the best performing currency in the world. So, and again, this is like a little, it's a microcosm. I wish people would read these news stories and go, oh, what's going on here?
I'd love to see a ruble versus a Japanese yen chart.
I never look at the Japanese yen.
It would just be a vertical line.
What is the Japanese yen suffering?
Crashing.
I'm talking about inflation. I've got another story coming up that's quite surprising, but it's a repeating pattern. But yeah, there's a reason why gold and silver are highly owned by China and Russia, and that is that they understand what the game is with currencies like the pound, the dollar, and that game is, there's people that are basically counterfeiting it, and they are able to rob the value of your money straight out of your safe without opening the door. So they understand this, and that's why they've been investing a lot in gold and silver. I think China don't actually let gold come out of the country anymore.
Really?
No, there's no exports of gold. So they're accumulating gold. I mean, it's surprising that they've managed to accumulate so much, and that yet the price hasn't changed. But I guess it's because the rest of the world are so bearish on gold.
Well, over here, I say over here, I mean, in the West, you've got like Bloomberg and FT calling gold a relic and just a silly stone or whatever. And meanwhile, China's not even letting it leave the country.
Yeah.
They know the score. They've got all the resources.
Why is it that they're doing that? You know, these are the questions that I want people to ask. Mind you, I probably shouldn't harp on it because I imagine that a lot of the people that would listen to this are, you know, they understand the issue, and that is that we need scarcity in our money, and that's what Bitcoin was all about. It's creating something that is cryptographically scarce and provably cryptographically scarce, and no one can change the ledger. But as I say, Bitcoin is it's an experiment, and so I think you should own some. Well, Bitcoin I'm not that keen on anymore, but I think you should own some crypto. Maybe get something that's got a little bit more utility. Ethereum's another good option. I will be getting into what I am interested in with crypto, what I think are good projects. Anyway,
this is not financial advice.
No, crikey, yeah, I've got to say that, haven't I? Yeah. Well, I'm not a financial advisor, and I genuinely, you can't listen to anyone on the internet. They're including me, and including some of the very well respected crypto YouTubers. Everyone gets it wrong, absolutely everyone, and you just have to do your own research, and if you're going to buy something, you have to. What's the word? This is another problem. Is that brain farts, forgetting what I'm saying. Yeah, you have to do your own research, and you have to basically take a leap of faith, basically. So, I mean, one thing I will say is that anything that is getting hyped like crazy is not worth buying. And that comes up to Lunar. Lunar's getting hyped massively. Yeah, there's loads of cryptos.
Isn't Lunar the one that crashed recently?
Yes. So it's you've got to, whenever something is very highly touted, you have to wonder why. But at the same time, it seems like a coincidence, because all of the projects that aren't a scam, and then they're not. You could describe them as scams, but all of the projects that are worthwhile investing in, they're not that commonly spoken about, even though they're still in the top 20 crypto market caps. For example, Avalanche. Avalanche is one of my favorite cryptos, and you just never see anyone talking about it. You never see anyone pumping it. It just keeps on chugging along. And I mean, one of the reasons why I like it very much is because of the lead technician, and that is Emin Gün Sirer, and I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. Emin Gün Sirer. He's a Turkish cryptographer, and he was into creating cryptographic money before Bitcoin, which is a very important. Yeah. So he's very, very well known, especially with the early Bitcoin community, and I think that stands for a lot. You've got to look at who is running these projects, and if you had looked at who's running the projects with Duquan, I mean, you would have found a guy that screwed up several projects, and you would have.
It's kind of like looking at companies you want to invest in. You want to invest in a cryptocurrency. You want to look at the team.
Exactly.
You don't want just any old Tom, Dick, and Harry like on your dev team, do you? You want good people with good names and good proven track records.
Yeah. And you also want to take a look at the incentive structure that they have created around their crypto. So, So Bitcoin.com is launching their own DeFi token called Verse. And I think the way they're doing this is very interesting, because it's chain agnostic. Is that the?
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter. It's going to run on several different chains. So, but the token is going to be the same. They've made it so that all of the coins are going to be created up front. And the token.
Did you say blockchain.com?
No, Bitcoin.com.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Is that Roger Ver?
Yes, Roger Ver's website. And so Roger Ver is another person that I think is is one to follow because of what he believes in. Not to mention the fact that he doesn't need any more money, and he is very passionate about creating money for the world, free money for the world, uncensorable money, and increasing freedom, and that's what motivates him. To me, I can quite plainly tell that is what motivates him. And so it's not a project that's made to rip people off. So all of the coins are created as soon, like they're all going to be created in an instant, and then they're going to be released over time. So you're not going to get this step function where loads of the early investors get this massive load of crypto of this token, and then they sell it all. So it's a very common thing in the industry that, you know, a token could be going very well, and then all of a sudden the early investors get this massive payout, and all of a sudden the price dumps. So it's got a smooth, continuous emission.
You told me about this. I think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, including to the people that will invest. Like, so that this is the Series B investment. So, and this is the people that you can get whitelisted now at Bitcoin.com. This is definitely not financial advice, and you should definitely look into it yourself. But what really interests me about it is that it's going to be the fees from the exchange on Bitcoin.com, as well as the fees from the DeFi, the Verse DeFi platform. They are going to be buying this token, so that's potentially a lot of demand. And so I forget now. I think it's the those tokens that are bought. Oh yeah, that's it. They're burned. So there's constantly going to be this diminishing supply. So I think it's 520 billion is going to be created all up front in one go, and then released over time. So you are going to have this like slow releasing of it, and it is going to be increasing in the total supply. But at the same time, you've got this exchange and this DeFi platform that is going to be constantly buying and destroying those coins. So it is going to deflate, and especially once it gets to that 7-year point, it's only going to be going down, and it's always going to be having this buy pressure from the exchange. And I just think that's brilliant. I think the way it's being done, I'm really excited about it, and it's really making me think, like, especially since it's chain agnostic. That's definitely the wrong word. It doesn't care what chain it's on. It's going to start off on Ethereum, but it's then going to be on Avalanche and all these other EVM. EVM is a Ethereum virtual machine. It's the smart contracts platform that runs on top of these blockchains. And so it makes me think, so that this has got utility in the sense that it's for this decentralized exchange. It's got this inbuilt demand into it, which can and will accelerate.
So the purpose of the burning, it sounds like they're trying to stabilize price during sort of distribution. As it sort of gets out into the market, they're trying to stabilize the price and not make it too volatile as it sort of permeates the crypto sphere.
I think it's just to create this general downward pressure on the price. It's a very common thing now for cryptos to constantly be buying, like especially with fees, buying and destroying. Like in Avalanche and in Ethereum, a portion of the fees that are charged for the transactions are burned. So I think Ethereum is actually, despite the fact that there's Ethereum being created and given to the miners and given to the stakers, and soon it's going to be merging to just staking. Despite that fact, it's actually going down. The number of Ethereum's in circulation is going down because of this burning. So it's a deflationary. Deflationary is the wrong word, because deflationary just means the price goes up, but the supply is going down, which is very interesting, isn't it?
Well, in the original sense of the terms inflation and deflation, that is exactly what it is, because inflation is increasing the supply and deflation is decreasing the supply.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Which means that you're incentivized to buy and hold. And so that can become a positive feedback loop, meaning that the price can go up over time. Not financial advice. I just think I think it's especially these days. It's not very often that you get to get in on a project this good, like early, and I think it's I kind of don't even want to talk about. I shouldn't have talked about it before it actually released. Mind you, I suppose no one's going to hear this, but
it's starting to sound like some financial. I want to buy it.
I think it's really good, but also I've listened to a couple of podcasts from Bitcoin.com with Corbin Fraser, and it sounds like it's a great project, and it's the fact. I suppose it comes down to trust, but it's like that Roger Ver. I'm quite sure, I trust him. That's not. Now I say it's not a very good thing to say. In the crypto space.
What makes him trust me? Sorry, what makes him trust me? What makes me trust him is that he's lost more money than a lot of people could ever dream of. Not as in like lost, like gambling it in the market, just by like. I think he got
a lot stolen from him from a crypto exchange. Yeah,
and. I mean, he put out a reward for that, didn't he? But he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
And that just makes me think that it doesn't bother him too much. He'd love to get it back and, give consequences to the people who've done it. But he's clearly made an absolute mint in his life, and so the money is not what he's after. He has purpose. Yeah. And I mean, you listen to the things that he says, and it all makes a lot of sense. But when you've got that backdraft of he doesn't need the money at all, it really does help you kind of trust him.
Yes. The only other thing with that is that so I don't know if you ever saw an episode of Dragon's Den, and they would say they don't want to invest in someone that's on a crusade. They want someone with their head screwed on, and they're doing it to make money. And that's, I mean, the thing is, he's a wickedly smart businessman and an absolute operator.
But we want to invest in a crusader.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. At least that's not my motivation. The reason why is because I'm sure that he's not trying to scam anyone. And he's been in the game a lot. I mean, he invested in some of the first, a lot of the first huge Bitcoin startups. He knows a thing or two about it, and he's also a Austrian economics kind of guy. He's
one of us.
He's one of us. Yeah, he's very well read in that department, and so it's because of his experience with that and the fact that I know he's not going to be trying to rip anyone off.
Christ, it'd be good to get him on a podcast, wouldn't
it? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be amazing. But at the same time, that doesn't guarantee its success, does it?
What?
The fact that he's trying to create the right incentive structure around this project, and I believe that what he's doing with the release of the coins coming out gradually over 7 years, he is trying to do everything right, but that does not mean it's going to succeed, and that's why you have to think twice about it. To me, it does sound like the most advanced DeFi strategy that I've heard of so far. I mean, I in terms of the technicals of what's going to be going on that platform, I don't know. But in terms of the chain agnosticism, again, I really should stop using that word if I don't know what it means. It's because of that, and also the buying. I mean, Crypto.com is huge. And so if the fees that are coming from the Crypto.com exchange, which isn't the DeFi platform, is going to be buying these from the get-go. It might not be from the get-go. I don't know. I need to probably make sure I know what I'm talking about. But that's quite huge. But it still doesn't guarantee success. I'm not sure what the X factor is that guarantees success. But I mean, you look at something like Trader Joe, and I think that the way...
What is Trader Joe for the listeners?
Trader Joe is the DeFi platform which is on Avalanche. I think it's the most popular, I'm pretty sure it's the most popular DEX. That's a decentralized exchange on the Avalanche platform. So just to give a quick idea of what a decentralized exchange is. So if you wanted to buy crypto and you wanted to buy it with your pounds or dollars, you have to send your money into a centralized exchange like Coinbase, and that's a company running an exchange. They've got both sides of the buy and sell, both sides of the market. So you can buy and sell your cryptos or your fiat, your pounds or dollars with confidence.
Is that a centralized exchange?
That is a centralized exchange, yeah. So they provide the liquidity in the market.
Yeah.
It's not like an order book exchange. So if you wanted to run a decentralized exchange, it's like where do you get the liquidity? You need to get people to put their own money in order to provide the liquidity to allow people to exchange on a decentralized platform. And so they've incentivized people to put their crypto into these DeFi platforms, these decentralized exchanges, so that people can trade. And you get paid in the DEX token. And so on Trader Joe, they have the Joe token. So you could put on you can even put Bitcoin on there, you can put Ethereum. Let's say you can put a couple, you have to put both of the tokens required for a market in equal amounts in, and then you will earn interest on that. And there's other things you need to think about, like impermanent loss, but it's so you can lose money, but you will gain interest, and that can vary massively. You can earn 10%, you can earn 1,000%. Usually if you're earning 1,000%, you're taking quite a risk. Anyway, that's what decentralized exchange is, and this is what we refer to as DeFi, which is decentralized finance. Trader Joe is a very good platform on the Avalanche network, and they have just got so many good features on there, and the website is so beautiful. It's just so beautifully done. I love it on there. But yeah, it's very advanced. Is Verse going to be as advanced as that? How long is it going to take them to get as advanced as that? I suppose in a lot of respects, like Trader Joe is like, I think they take a lot of concepts from other exchanges like Aave.
So what is Verse? Is Verse like Avalanche?
No, Verse is like Trader Joe.
And what network is it run on?
It's going to start on the Ethereum network, and then they're going to add it to like Avalanche. We're not certain. I don't know what the next platform is going to be. Personally, I wouldn't have even launched it on Ethereum first. I mean, it's too slow and it's too expensive. In my opinion, you need something that is faster, very quick transaction times, and cheaper. But at the same time, Ethereum's the biggest. It's got the most value locked into the chain. So they probably know better than me. It's Bitcoin.com at the end of the day. So yeah, it's basically like Trader Joe, and Verse is also the token. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. And this is what makes me think, is this stuff going to be more valuable than the platform tokens?
Is what stuff?
Like Verse. Are these decentralized exchanges? Imagine Trader Joe decides, right, we're going to launch on the Ethereum network and on Solana, if it works, I'm not sure, or Elrond, EGLD, or any of these other DeFi platforms, FTM, Polkadot. I don't even know if Polkadot's ready yet. So yeah, once it's going to be available on all those. If Trader Joe did that, and it's had the same tokenomics, what would that do to the value of Joe? I don't know. I do know. I mean, it will go up a little bit, but I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're sticking to Avalanche. So
what you're saying is, what would happen if they increased the demand, essentially, without expanding the supply of Joe?
Well, it will push the price up, won't it?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're thinking with this verse thing, is that the tokenomics is going to drive the price through the roof.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin.com, I mean, what a domain to have. They're going to be able to funnel traffic onto their decentralized exchange. Verse might be the first decentralized platform that people come into contact with. Think about that.
Yeah.
I think they've got 30 million wallets, the Bitcoin.com wallet. 30 million. It's very interesting. It's very exciting. But I don't know everything about it. So, you've got to do your own research. But talking about research...
Have you had a look at a roadmap for this verse?
Yes, I have, yeah. It's like everything else. I read it and I can't remember half of it. But I was impressed. They're very... I mean, it's so much focused on like the future of decentralized finance, or the future of free money.
And when do you think they'll be...
Not like you get it for free, but like you are free to use it as you will.
And when do you think they'll be releasing it?
So I think it was supposed to be June, and they delayed it because of the. They delayed it because of the turmoil in the markets, and there's a lot of projects that have been delaying certain aspects of their certain releases because of the turmoil that's going on in the markets. I'm not certain if that's the best way to play it. I mean, some of the things that have been delayed, I've been thinking, just bloody get on with it. But yeah, it's. But talking about research, I don't know if I've ever told you about this guy before.
Oh.
So, crypto researcher Justin Bons, that's B-O-N-S, draws more attention to the worrying actions of the Solana development team. So Solana is another decentralized, smart contracts platform like Ethereum. And I have heard a lot of very smart people talking about it. And I've not really, I do kind of get my blinders on a little bit. And especially with this podcast, I want to take my blinders off. When I do take my blinders off, I see a lot of issues. And so Justin Bons, he says, so he did a tweet storm, and he always does these tweet storms, and they are fantastic. So he's a crypto researcher. He runs his own crypto investment fund, right? Cyber Capital, I think it is. So he says, ever since I first critiqued Solana back in 2021, warning people of its instability, centralization, bad design, fraud, and lies, the network has gone down 7 times. As in, by gone down, not the price has gone down, but the actual network has gone offline 7 times since 2000. So since 2021. Validating my earlier critiques. Now Solana is launching a phone instead of focusing on their broken blockchain. He goes on to say, the claim that this solves major problems for cryptocurrency as a whole, the claim being made is that this solves major problems for cryptocurrency as a whole. This claim is unfounded, as the gap that needs to be filled is one of software and integration, not hardware. Releasing a new phone has nothing to do with solving that problem. It might create the conditions for funding the right development, but this is an extremely indirect way of solving this problem. It is more likely that this is another way for the Sol team to pivot and cash in. Considering how badly Sol has been performing technically speaking, considering how badly Sol has been performing technically speaking, the writing might already be on the wall for Sol that it will go the same way as EOS.
How did EOS go?
I don't know, but there's another platform. I guess it went sideways, to say the very least, or down the hill. So that's a tweet storm. You can read the rest of this. This is fairly short for him. This is a 9-tweet thread, or whatever they call it, and you can go read it. It's Justin_Bonds BONS on Twitter. I think he's only got about 23,000 followers on.
All geeks, including you.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't even get much response from his tweets, and I would say he's one of the most valuable people.
Yeah.
Oh, well, by quite a large margin. He digs in very deep, and the thing is that he doesn't. I think he's actually got a team of researchers as well.
How did you find this guy?
So he was part of Bitcoin, a very long time ago. I mean, I think he started his fund in 2016, but he was in crypto before that, and so he was very interested in Bitcoin Cash, and then Bitcoin Cash, when it initially started, it had quite a lot of network effects. It was doing very well, and then it forked, and then it forked again, and it was just it's crushing, soul destroying, because it lost all of its network effects, and but he just stayed true to looking at what these projects are about and trying to determine if they're actually providing any value at all, and just how much value they're providing. I can assure you I'm going to be referring to Justin Bonds a lot in the future, because unbelievable. Imagine getting someone to go and dig very deeply into the governance, the technology, the incentive structure, everything around it, and then it just comes back to you like a report. But the thing is, it's negative, and I know it sounds bad, but it's a good thing. It's such a good thing, and the reason why it's such a good thing is because, as I said earlier, every time you go and you try to do research on some crypto, everything is just all positive. Is that in my screen as well?
No, I was thinking about it, but it looked more technical, so I thought, you know what, I'll leave it there. But then you noticed.
But yeah, so it sounds bad because it's all negativity, but all you ever hear is people talking up their crypto, right? So it's I'm always like, can I just hear someone critique it? Can I hear something bad about it? Because I know it's not perfect, and it's very difficult to find that. Well, go to Justin Bond's Twitter, and you'll see him destroying these cryptos. And he was very negative on Lunar as well. He saw the writing on the wall for that one. Occasionally, he does have some positive things to say about some cryptos. But yeah, absolute legend. I highly recommend, if you are on Twitter, follow him, Justin_Bonds, and you will hear more. I'd like to get him. I think he's Dutch. I'd like to get him on the podcast.
It's not too far away.
Not too far away. He can make it. So I hope he will. So yeah, referring back to the inflation thing. Lebanon's inflation rate. Have you seen this today?
I heard about it a year ago, and I've been wondering what's going on with it, to be honest. Because there's a few places as well, is it Turkey is also... They were hyperinflating, I think.
Turkey's had major problems. I can't remember if it was Lebanon that we heard. I think we did hear about it.
It was Lebanon, yeah.
There's quite a few different places in that region that are having inflation problems. Lebanon's inflation rate has just hit 211%. So, I mean, hyperinflation is 50% per month, and that, I suppose, actually that is quite a lot higher when you annualize that. But
was that 200% a month?
No, 50% a month.
Yeah, no, but Lebanon's.
No, it's not. I probably should have read the article, but I assume it's they always annualize these figures anyway. So yeah, it's hit 211%, and I just wonder what it's like there, because I don't know. We've had inflation here, and it's been hitting us, but it's not been that bad. It's not. It will be worse.
People are expecting it to stop. They're going, but these prices are, ridiculous, and they think it's going to stop, but it's not. And I think when there's a mass realization that the prices aren't really going to come down in any substantial way, they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep going up. Then people are going to start spending their money as soon as they get it, because they know that by the end of the month it could be even more money, and that's when things start to spiral, and that's when you start heading to places like 211%.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen, let's say, 50% increases in, oil, petrol. That's what we call it over here. We call it petrol, not gas.
Gasoline.
That's gone up 50%. I think that's only about 50% actually. It's like 120. It's like £1.20 per litre, and now it's at about
over 50%.
Yeah, it's in that region, 50-60%. What happens when it's 200%?
I saw something that was ridiculous. Actually, I think it was on my FX book app calendar, and so I always look at the news because I'm spread betting away, and so I'm always looking for where the volatility is going to come from, the news and stuff like that. And I was looking at the UK's CPI number. I don't think we call it a CPI number. We call it something else. But I was looking at the percentage of the makeup, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something as insignificant as this. But private education was a higher percentage of the inflation rate than food.
What?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
That's going to have a negative effect on inflation, because when
this is the thing, they say silly things like, it's 9% inflation, and it's like fuel has gone up 60% and food has gone up like massively, but they're saying it's 9%, and now you know why, because food and energy, so they make it such a tiny part of the CPI. And all these other things that are completely insignificant to the average person are larger percentages of it that aren't going up much. And the reality is, if you reconstitute that to the average person, and that what they spend their money on, so what percentage of an average salary went on food and rent or mortgage payments and stuff like that, the inflation rate would probably be like at least 25%. Easy. I feel like it's been worse here in the UK because the pound's been going down against the dollar.
But the point I was going to make was that it's very interesting that they've put private education, especially in the UK, in the inflation figures, because when the price of food and the price of fuel and the price of everything else starts going up, what are you going to have less money for? Like what's going to be impacted? I mean, I know for the people that do want to put their kids into private education, it's important to them, and I understand that. But when you get inflation, you're not going to have like. You're not going to cut your food.
Sorry, my microphone was off. You're not going to cut your food bill, are you? You're going to cut everything else but food. That's what, like, food, rent, and energy are the things that are just going to stay, and then the cost goes up, and the people are going to try and scrimp and scrape, but everything else suffers. Yeah.
So to me, it seems like they've put a figure in there that is actually going to bring that inflation number down. As inflation goes up, you might see drops in the price of private education, and at the very least, it's going to stay stable.
And that percentage that is going down is going to counteract the food going up as well.
Yeah, the teachers don't live too far away. They don't manufacture anything. They don't have high input costs. You know, that the prices are going to stay the same. So what I'm glad you told me that. I had no idea. That's so crafty.
But then again, we don't know what private education means. I mean, me and you buy courses on Udemy, and I've recently paid for, mind you, that wouldn't show up in their figures, would it? But still.
Yeah, you need to get used to talking into that mic.
Yeah, I can't get used to Hello, friend.
How many times do you think you've forgotten to like switch the cameras?
I've done really well.
I think you've done all right. I'm not sure, but I think
When you watch this back, you're going to think, wow, he's done an amazing job for the first time he's ever used these kind of things.
Watch it back. God, that's going to take a lot of time. So yeah, on the I was trying to come up with a name today, and on the CoinCosy podcast.
Awful.
I know. For the first 1,000 subscribers, you're going to be added to a list of first adopters for this podcast. And I tell you what, if you want to suggest any names for this podcast in the comments, I would love to hear it. But yeah, if you subscribe, you like the video you're currently watching, and you put a comment down below, try to make it a unique comment. Don't just say subscribed, because YouTube's going to start to think that I'm spamming. If you do that, and unfortunately, you need to email me at 1000@coin-cozy.com and give me your username on YouTube and as well as your full name, and you're going to be added to a list of the first 1,000 subscribers for this channel. Now that sounds a bit laborious, but what that means is you will be added to any private groups that we create in the future for free, permanently. So I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers very quickly. You're also going to go onto the website, it's up now, believe it or not.
What?
I did it today. If the name of the podcast changes, I mean that's not going to change. You'll be added to the first adopters, and it will be on the website permanently. So hit subscribe, click like, and stick a comment down below, and shoot me that email 1000@coin-cozy, coin-cozy.com. For goodness sake, give me a new name for the podcast.
You said all-time high earlier. I really liked it.
I don't know. Maybe if someone hears that, I would like to tell me what you think, people. All-time high. So it does sound good, but
reel off a couple of the others, and if people like it, they can.
I liked Coinjecture. It's a bit of a mouthful. Yeah. I can't even remember some of the other ones I came up with. So many of them are taken.
All-time high podcast sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think sounds really good.
I could just change it now. That's how official it is right now. Right, it's the all-time high podcast. No, yeah, I mean...
No, wait for for people to come and feedback. And,
yeah, we're definitely at least going to get one viewer, and maybe they might... Hopefully, if they get to the end, then, they can let me know. So, right, well, if you did listen, especially if you listened to the end, then thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is our first podcast. We've got a lot to figure out and to get used to. I am hoping to bring honesty and casual conversation to crypto instead of bag pumping. Buy my crypto, make my investment go up. I'm not into that. I want to hear the truth. I want to hear reality, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come and watch us on the next one. Cheers. Bye.
That's good. Stop recording,
Yeah.